Hey guys, today just going to show you how to set up your Anda seat. This is going to be kind of a more long, detailed version of this. So the one that we will be setting up today is the Kaiser 2 series, which is the guy in the center right there. So right beside it to the left is the Assassin King series, and to the right is the Dark Knight series. So yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get started on this here. This install will probably take you about half hour to an hour. I kind of know how to install all of these, so it's going to be a lot faster for me. So yeah, let's get started here. Slice open the box here. Like this. Now what I usually like to do, because these are pretty big boxes, I like to cut the boxes off like this, just so it's easier to do the recycling. So I'll just set these aside for now. We got a nice little foam pad here, and the first part that's going to come out is the actual seat back. So here it is right here. Very nice. Yeah, so we'll just leave that in front for now. Next, we're going to take out the back cushion and the back headrest here. Comes another foam pad. This is the wheelbase here. These I kind of just like to take off right away here. Set that aside. Another foam pad again. And then here's the actual chair in here. So I'm going to take this out right now. Here it is. The actual chair. The chair bottom. And then this is the foam pad that it came in to protect it as well. So, and inside here is all the boxes. So the shock and the handles, all that stuff. So inside the box here, you're going to kind of find instruction pamphlets, all of the wheels for the bottom, and then the little shock boot to raise the seat up and down. These are to cover up the sides of the seat. And then here is the base bottom here. So there's that there. Shock absorber, of course. And the tools, all that you will need is right here. So yeah. And usually what I like to do is the box is pretty sturdy, so I'm going to do a few things on here first. So usually what I like to do is I like to use this box to do some of the smaller things. If you follow the instructions here, the instructions give you a pretty detailed layout of how to do it. I'm kind of sick right now too, so I'm going to do my best. Yeah, so I mean, it tells you how to install everything right by step here. It tells you what's all included, the installation guide, and everything like that. So the first thing they want you to do is actually they want you to put the seat back onto the seat base. So you know what, we're just going to follow the instructions. So that's what we're going to do. We'll leave this out here. Put it on the Kaiser series chair over here. So we're going to get this guy up here. Like this. Take off all these. And you want to be very careful that you don't cut the seat. Okay, we got that. I'm gonna grab the actual chair now. The seat back, sorry, is what I meant. Again. And it's cool because this package can be used for garbage, so it's actually pretty good. So we're just gonna slip this out. Here's a nice seat back here. Very nice quality, very nice. This bag is really good to put all the garbage in and then toss it out after. So as long as you cut all the foam pieces up, everything will fit in this garbage too. So we want to use the tools here. So there's going to be 2 bolts at the side here and also 2 bolts on this side as well. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to take those out and get ready to line it up in here and put them in there. And if you're a little bit more experienced, I don't recommend it, but I was an automotive service technician, so I have a lot of air and cordless impact tools. I usually just use my cordless tool to just quickly unzip these out, and then I hand tighten them in, and then I use them to zip them on. But I don't recommend that in case if you cross thread, because it's going to be kind of a pain to kind of tap and die it out. So yeah, so I just recommend to use this and do everything by hand, just in case. So we got that side out. I'm going to do this side now. And it doesn't take too long either to do everything by hand. It's maybe an extra 30 seconds for all of it. So, whoa. There we go. Okay, so oh, excuse me. We're gonna line this up now. We're gonna put this guy here. I have to actually put this one back here first. There we go. And there is instructions in here. Do not pull this lever that's here. Do not pull it because this thing will snap back and you could potentially hurt yourself, and it will hurt. So do not touch it until the seat is on and secured on. I just like to get this on first and kind of lined up. Okay, there we go. Oh, there we go. Those holes are pretty much lined up. Just have to back this one up a little bit. And then we can start getting the screws on. And you want to make sure you do them by hand first, of course. Don't try to use like an air tool or anything like that. Or a cordless tool, sorry. Sometimes they are a bit tricky just because you have to go through a little bit of the cotton inside, but it's not that big of a deal. As long as you got it threaded in a bit, you can start tightening them in. So I'm just going to snug these up halfway in, just until the lock collar starts to touch a tiny bit. And then we're going to go move to the other side here. Actually, I can just flip it over, just because. Make sure lock washer is on first, and then the washer. So we're going to flip this bad boy over now. do this side. And when I first got these, like when I first got a chair to assemble, these were quite kind of hard to find and get inside. But now that I've assembled several of these, they're not that bad. So okay, so now we can go ahead and just kind of snug these up. There's not really a torque specification on these. What these Allen keys are designed to do is the torque is kind of within this. As an automotive service tech, this is pretty much the torque spec. So you give it a good snug until it kind of stops. That's kind of the torque spec for these, because this will only allow you to tighten it so much. So that's as tight as it goes. Excuse me. So that's tight and snug. That's tight and snug. Flip it back over. Get the rest of these guys in all the way. Snug there. Actually, they may have a torque spec on the site, actually. I'm not sure if it's in the instructions or not, but excuse me. So we got that on. The next thing they want us to do is to turn the page here. They want us to put the covers on now. They want us to put the left and right side covers on now, just so you don't see any of this. So it gets covered up nicely. So that's what we will do, which are these two supplied screws in here in the bag. And the side covers are these guys right here. Oh, my mic's kind of off a bit. There we go. So there's one for each side. You can't really screw them up. The longer one will go on the one that has the dip, which is the arm side one. So best way to do it is this bottom clip here. Just kind of get that in first if you can. And once that's in, everything will just kind of line up itself. So that's in. Get ready to put this in. Grab the Allen wrench and away you go, just like that. And sometimes you may find this this plastic part to pop off before you have the screw in, because of the tension. So that's not a big deal, because it'll get secured in with the nut with the bolt here. So yeah, so we got that tightened there. We're good there. We're gonna do the other side now. I'll flip it around. Very nice seat, very nice quality. Same thing here. Like to get that part in first. And oh, my bolt kind of rolled just underneath here, sorry. There it is. So we'll get that in. And just make sure you always hand tighten these in. Don't try and put the screw on and then tighten it in that way. Just make sure you got it in by hand and make sure it threads in good. Because the last thing you want to do is strip it and then you have to tap and die it out. There, that's that. So that's that part there. Just read the next instructions here. Next, they want us to do the bottom base of it now. So they want us to install this big guy here on the bottom base. So that's what we're going to do right now. And for this, usually what you can do is if you're doing this on the ground or on the cement, you can put one of those foam pads underneath it, which is what you kind of should do. But on the cardboard box, I'm not going to cause any damage to it. So yeah, so there'll be 4 of these bolts here. Show you. You can probably see them. But there'll be 4 of these bolts here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing here. Undo them all. Put these on the ground because I don't want them to roll away on me. Go. And okay, good. We got all those there too. Perfect. All right, so we got all 4 of those out. Now I want to install the base of it. This you want this lip part here. You want this lip part where the shock sits towards the back of the seat is what they're showing on the display. So you don't want to put it like this because that'll make it an off-center balance, because you want the shock support to be kind of in the center of gravity, I guess, where the back seat is. So it goes on this way. Here's the correct way. So if I stand it up, comparing it to all of these ones here, this is the correct way, and that's how all the other 3 ANDA seats are sitting as well. So make sure you get this on right. It can be confusing just by looking at the instructions and the way you have your seat. I don't have mine exactly like this, but if I were to flip it over to what the instructions show, this part would be facing up is what it shows on the instructions. So that's what we're going to do now, is get this in and secured. Yeah, so now we can start tightening these in a little bit here. And these, the base seat is kind of slotted. So the way that they want you to do it, I think, is they want you to let the weight kind of hang towards the back of the seat. So in my case, I would just kind of push up and tighten, but I like to just kind of keep things in the center anyway. So the slot isn't even that big at all. It barely moves, so maybe 1/4 of an inch. So I just like to keep it center. That's all I kind of do. You can see exactly where to, so I'll tighten that there. Make sure this side is centered as well, as close as you can get. You're not going to probably notice it at all, so don't really need to worry about that. All right, so now we can actually do the tightening of this, tightening of the base. And I'm sorry for doing this sick. I'm kind of sick right now, but I have a couple client meets today, unfortunately, and they seem to be okay with it. It's not that big of a cold. I'm just kind of stuffy. So it's been kind of raining and pouring the past few days, so that doesn't seem to help either. With all the humidity. I've actually had this sitting in the box for about 2 months, so it's finally good to have it out of the way and out of the office space, so because it was taking up room. Okay, so we got those in now. Now it wants us to put on the wheels now. So it wants us to get on the wheels. Wheels are fairly simple. Just flip them over and pop them in is all it is. So I will show you that right now. We can just kind of push this aside because we'll have room. Here's the wheels. Here's the bottom base for the wheels. All wheels come in a package. Open them up, kind of dump them out. And these are fairly simple. They just have a lock collar on them with a lock ring. So just kind of do that, and that's all it is. And of course, if one or two don't go in all the way, you usually don't have to worry, because by the time you put it on the chair and you sit on it, they'll all snap into place anyway, so that's not a big deal. These ones all went in fine, so that is good. So there it is there. There's the wheel, we'll just leave it there. Next thing they want us to do now is to put the shock in right now. So we're just gonna put the shock in onto the bottom. I do mine a little bit different just because it is not necessarily easier, but the shock just kind of sits here like this, like that. This just goes over top, just like that. So when the shock goes up and down, you actually don't see the shock, so you just see the covers of the shock cover. And then the next thing they want you to do right now is to plant the end seat right on top of this. So with this hole right here. So that's going to go right on the shock, and then that's pretty much it. So let's do that now. We're almost done here. So the box is pretty sturdy, so that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to pop it on now. And that's all it is. So that's all you do. You pop that on, and then that's pretty much it. It's done. I like to kind of do it on the ground just to make sure, because to properly seat it, you really want to sit on it. So I'm gonna put it down. Move the box out of the way. Now we can actually use this arm now, because the seat back is installed. So that's it. These have the 4D armrests, so these go up and down, of course. They also go side to side, in and out. And you can push the buttons on the inside here, and these go backwards and forward as well. So fully customized to your size. So yeah, so these are the final assembles here. So here's how they look with and without the foam padding. So whichever way you want to, however you want to sit in them. But if you definitely are kind of a larger, just a larger person in general, you can keep the back pads off, because I'm 6'1", 230, and I keep the back pads on and I still have space. When I do take the pads off, I just feel like I'm sucked into the back, which actually feels pretty good if I decide to stream or play some games. But for when I'm video editing, I like to keep it with the back pads on, because it keeps me forward more kind of towards the screen. I'll probably take the pads off when I'm streaming games and stuff, just because I feel more sucked back in. and it keeps helps keep the posture straight as well. So yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask anything. You can go to andaseat.com. There's a Canada site too, and you can go ahead and order some. They're amazing chairs. So yeah, feel free to ask anything else.